Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to The Last Lap. In today's video we're going to be talking about a lot of silly season news, and we're also going to preview Richmond this weekend for you guys. But before we go ahead and hop into the video, just want to remind you guys to hit that like button and subscribe button. We'd greatly appreciate it if you did that. And you can also check our social media channels, those will be linked in the description as always. But let's go ahead and hop straight into the episode. As always, I have my friend and co-host Matthew joining me on the show, and by the time you guys will be seeing this man will be 23 years old, so just a happy early birthday to you, and I'm sure you're very excited about that. But Matthew, how's it feel to be heading to Richmond this weekend, one of Toyota's best tracks, and the Toyota's looking to try to get back on track here?
If you're trying to give me an early birthday present by telling me that Kyle Busch is going to be good this weekend, don't give me hope just yet. But there is optimism because Toyota is pretty much the best when it comes to racing at Richmond, and we'll see how it goes this weekend. And thanks for the birthday wish there. And let's get this thing started.
Alright, so the main silly season announcement that was made for this week. Actually, I kind of want to start off with like some teases that happened this week. So, Tony Stewart and Kyle Gragson posted stuff on their social media accounts about like, oh, there's a big announcement coming this week. Stay tuned. ... Whatever. Tony Stewart's announcement was an NFT thing that he came up with, and Kyle Gragson's big announcement was that Justin Haley's going to run an Xfinity race at Daytona. So, two pretty big letdowns this week for two potential teams Kyle Busch might be going to, but that was pretty much a pretty big letdown. So now we'll hop into the actual news that came out this week, the important silly season stuff. So first of all, Noah Gragson will be racing in the number 42 car for Petty GMS Racing next season. This was pretty much the driver everybody thought was going to take over that 42 car since they announced that Ty Dillon will not be returning. So I think this is a great opportunity for Noah Gragson. He has had a few years in Xfinity Series to, grow and develop himself. I think he still needs to learn just a tiny bit, but he did run really good at Michigan last week in the Cup car until he unfortunately had until he hit the wall off turn 2. He was running top 5, top 10 for most of the day, so I think he definitely has the speed. He's definitely sort of figured out this next-gen car. He's getting more races this year in that number 16 car, so looking forward to see how well he does next year in the number 42 car full-time for his first NASCAR Cup Series season. And once again, Kurt Busch unfortunately will not be able to race the number 45 car at Richmond this weekend. He's still recovering. He did say that he's feeling a lot better. He's making progress, but apparently he tried to do some simulator racing and testing and stuff, and his body wasn't quite there yet, so he'll sit out once again. Ty Gibbs will again fill in for him in that number 45 car. And as we speak of Ty Gibbs, we now have to turn over to Kyle Busch. So things over the past few weeks, they have, like, if this is the hill, it's been kind of going flat like this. It's kind of been going down a little bit. It's been like a steep 90-degree angle, like almost straight down now as far as Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs Racing is concerned. But I'm going to quickly go over everything in case you guys don't know what's going on. So JGR does not have the money to fund Kyle Busch next season if they can't find a major sponsor like M&M's was for so many years. Everybody on both sides was wanting things to work out. Kyle Busch, Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota Racing Development, everybody was like, oh, we'll figure this out eventually. And they've been treading water. They've been in the same spot for months, still not able to find a sponsor. Reportedly, Oracle was supposed to, they were close to signing a deal, but that fell through. Oracle, aka the sponsor in F1 for Red Bull, that's a pretty big sponsor that they couldn't grab onto. So even Toyota themselves, the past few weeks, they were saying that they have a lot of work to do, and we're in a bad place, stuff like that. And apparently, Kyle in the past few days or weeks has said he's willing to take a pay cut now. But I'm almost wondering if it's too little too late. You lost a sponsor like Oracle, probably lost a few other sponsors that weren't willing to pay as much money, and now Kyle wants to take a pay cut. I almost feel like it's too little too late for him at this point. And Kyle has talked to other teams as well. Gene Haas, he was at Pocono a few weeks ago. He's never at the racetrack. He was talking to Kyle Busch. And according to the Door Bumper Clear podcast, which consists of current NASCAR Cup Series spotters, I believe it consists of 4 of them, they now say that JGR, and I think it was just JGR, I don't think it was JGR and Toyota, but Joe Gibbs Racing has pretty much stopped talking to Kyle Busch about a contract extension, and that a Chevy team has entered the conversation about retaining Kyle Busch next year. So, it's at a Ford team as well, and we're pretty sure that's Stewart-Haas Racing based off of what happened a few weeks ago in Pocono. But now everybody's wondering, where's the Chevy team that might be trying to get Kyle Busch next year? There's a couple ideas floating around. I think the highest one up on that list is Colleague Racing, just because Chris Rice, Matt Colleague, they have that kind of money to support a driver like Kyle Busch, who doesn't have a full-time sponsor lined up like that for next year. In my opinion, I think RCR could also be in that boat as a Chevy team, just because they might be getting rid of Tyler Reddick, possibly. I don't think so, but I think that's another option. But you also have to look at the other Toyota team, 2311 Racing, I think, in my opinion, because Kurt Busch, he might consider retiring a year early after all of these health scares with the concussion and all that kind of stuff. So Kurt Busch might retire. Maybe Kyle Busch can replace Kurt for 1 year until they figure out another sponsor or something like that. So there's a lot of teams floating around. Joe Gibbs Racing is still, I say, as long as he's still at Joe Gibbs Racing right now, until they say otherwise, I think he's going to stay at Joe Gibbs Racing until an announcement comes out. So for now, Joe Gibbs Racing, I think, has the highest chance, and then maybe a Stewart-Haas Racing right below that, and then maybe a Colleague right below that, but we really don't know until an announcement comes out. So there's still a lot of speculation going on. I love, all the stuff, all the backdoor kind of stuff we're getting from these spotters on Door Bumper Clear and all this leaked stuff. It keeps it coming, because there's these tiny news stories every week that make this Kyle Busch silly season thing drag out a little longer, make it a little more interesting, spices things up a little bit. So I know you, Matthew, you're kind of on your heels and you're quite nervous about it and just want to get over with. So go ahead and tell everybody how you're feeling about this and what Kyle Busch's options are and what you think his best option might be.
Well, first of all, let's backtrack to the first story of the week. Noah Gragson is signing with Petty GMS for the Cup Series full-time next year. And this was pretty much a move everyone was expecting. I mean, it wasn't really big of a surprise. I'm sure Gragson wanted to stay with Chevy. And, yep, this will be interesting to see how he does next year. I think he does have potential, especially how really good he ran last week at Michigan. So that was a little glimpse of potential right there. But this is the 42 car, and the 42 car has not been good this year. Then again, the guy who's driving it, in my opinion, he's not that good, in my opinion. I mean, I don't understand why there was so much hype with Ty Dillon when he was first announced driving this car. I mean, probably because he's not like his older brother, in which he went the silver spoon route, quote, with Richard Childress, and Ty Dillon went to another direction, which I guess I can see why people respect that, but he's just not that good. And this is basically a big upgrade for Petty GMS, in my opinion. And Petty GMS basically has their future now. They just re-signed Eric Jones. Now they got Noah Gragson. And this will be an interesting duo for the next 10 years if things stay this way with sponsorship, stuff like that, for 10 years. And my prediction for next year, I don't think he's going to win. I mean, I'm not going to go that route. But you never know. I mean, he could win the Daytona 500 like Austin Cindric did this year. But in my opinion, I don't think he's going to win next year. But I think he'll definitely make that 42 car a lot better than it was this year, for sure. I don't think he'll make the playoffs, but like I said, we've seen crazier things, especially this year, and never count anyone out. So I cannot wait to see how Noah Gragson does next year, full time. And for Ty Gibbs, we'll be back in the 45 car this weekend. We're hoping Kurt Busch gets back in that car as soon as possible, especially since there's only one spot left in the playoffs. And if there's 17 winners, he's probably going to be the guy that's out because he's he's the only guy in the playoffs that has missed races. So he's definitely going to be on the hot seat if there's 16 winners this weekend. But I really hope he does get back soon. And there's always a question of, will he ever race after the end of this season because of this? That's coming up to Kurt Busch. If he feels like he's better, then he'll race next year. And I think next year will be his last year because my prediction is Tyler Reddick will be in that 45 car in 2024 instead of a third car. But I guess we'll see there. But on the other side, Ty Gibbs, another amazing opportunity. This kid has absolutely impressed everyone in the Cups in his first 3 starts. He's able to keep the car clean. He hasn't made a lot of mistakes. The only mistake he really made was getting a speeding penalty in Michigan. But he's basically completed all the laps he has run so far. And he's finished 16, 17, and a top 10 in his third start in the Cup Series at a non-super speedway. I mean, this kid continues to impress. And I think he's in a great case of getting another great finish this weekend because this is Toyota's track, Richmond. This is basically their playground here. And I feel like Ty Gibbs could easily have another amazing run. It could be another top 10. I'm not going to put too much pressure, but maybe a top 10. Heck, top 5 if we're going to go even crazier. But I'll keep it at top 10. And he's driving the Air Jordan car this weekend. Yes, the Air Jordan car is back. And the last time we ran an Air Jordan car, or that team ran an Air Jordan car, they won. Could that be a sign of things to come? Probably not, but it's in the Concorde scheme, the Air Jordan 11 Concords. Of course, anyone who knows shoes like Jimmy and I, we all know that's a really iconic shoe. So can't wait to see that car on the racetrack. Even though Jimmy's going to be there, not me. So he's lucky he gets to see that car on track. Okay. Let's get to the story that I've been dreading to talk about for many weeks now. The free agency of Kyle Busch. And I still can't believe I've been part of this sport for a long time. He's been my favorite driver for like 16, 17 years now. And I never thought this day would ever come, talking about him leaving Joe Gibbs Racing. We never thought this day would ever come, but here we are. It just sucks. But that's NASCAR. That's how the business goes sometimes. Sometimes you get really lucky and have that driver that stays for 20 years, like Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson. But there's also going to be drivers that run their course with a team, and the best thing they can do is move to another team, have a fresh start, like Dale Jr., Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, and it's probably going to be Kyle Busch here real soon because I believe he's going to leave Joe Gibbs Racing. I feel like with all that's been going on, they haven't gotten a deal yet, and it's August, and I just feel like it might be just time to they've done so much success together, but I think it has just run its course. I think it might be best for both parties to just go to a different direction. And I think I feel like as of right now, I feel like Joe Gibbs Racing would definitely benefit the most out of that because who will they put in that 18 car? Ty Gibbs, of course. Even though they said that they're planning on running another Xfinity season with them. But we all know plans change, and especially since how Ty Gibbs has basically impressed everyone in his first 3 Cup starts, which were definitely unexpected. But man, I think they're actually, Julius Racing is actually more pressure to put Ty Gibbs in that car more than bring Kyle Busch back. I think that's just how it is. I think they have more pressure of moving up Ty Gibbs more than bringing back Kyle Busch. And as for the teams, of course that Ford team has to be Stewart-Haas Racing. I mean, that's pretty much the only competitive Ford team that has a seat available. And I know people keep saying Eric Almirola's not going to retire. He might change his mind, but as far as I know, nothing else has been announced. So as of right now, it still stands that Eric Almirola is going to retire. So in my opinion, I think Kyle Busch will be in that 10 car. Of course, we're talking about the 41 car, which I hope not, because that 41 car is awful. I don't think it's just Cole Custer being a little scrub right now. I think the team is also really bad as well. So I really don't want him being that 41 car. I'd rather him be in the 10 car, in my opinion. So yeah. As for that Chevy team, there's Colleague Racing, like you said. But I think I have a theory here. What if that Chevy team was actually Trackhouse? And we all know Justin Marks. We all know how bold he can be on decisions. We all know how he can basically easily shock the NASCAR world. Last year, he shocked the NASCAR world by buying Chicken Assing Racing. We did not expect that. There were no rumors that led to that. It was an all shock. And this year, he's basically announced Kimi Räikkönen, the former F1 champion. He's going to be racing at Watkins Glen. There was no rumor to that. It was all a big surprise. What if Justin Marks does it again? He basically announces Kyle Busch as a 3rd Trackhouse car full time. That will basically be a shock because no one has really talked about that. And I mean, we all know Justin Marks. He's trying to win those championships. He's trying to win races. And with Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez looking good, I think that'll be a perfect case scenario for Kyle Busch. And here's another side benefit to it. He's got Ross Chastain as his teammate. He doesn't have to worry about him roughing him up because that's his teammate now. It'll be his teammate. So that would be an absolute plus if I was Kyle Busch. But I guess we'll see. What I believe is going to happen, I think Stewart-Haas Racing is pretty much the choice. But I personally would like him to be in Colleague Racing, you know, because I love Colleague Racing. I'm just being a little biased there, and I feel like that team has a lot more potential because Stewart-Haas Racing, even though it's a established championship team, they haven't run that well the last couple of years. Meanwhile, Colleague, they may not be the best team right now, but I think they have more of a higher ceiling because they're still new. So I think Kyle Busch would be a perfect guy to build that Cup program up with A.J. Allmendinger doing part-time and Justin Haley. So, but my dream case scenario would be him going to a 3rd Trackhouse car, but I doubt that's going to happen. But hey, I can dream, can I? So yeah. It's all depressing that we have to come to this, but unfortunately that's just how NASCAR business goes. And yeah, if Kyle Busch leaves, this will be the biggest loss in Toyota history. A bigger loss than Carl Edwards retiring. A bigger loss than when Tony Stewart left Toyota after 1 year, or when Joey Logano left for Penske. This will be an absolute huge loss for Toyota because they will lose Kyle Busch Motorsports as well, basically their development team for Toyota. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I'm not going to sleep too well until an announcement's been made. But I could be stressing out for nothing, and next thing you know, Kyle Busch will be re-signed with Toyota with Joe Gibbs Racing. So if he, I actually will be mad if he does that because he'll have me stressed out for nothing. So yeah, it might be better to just leave and get over with.
Yeah, it's gonna be a developing story until something finally comes out. Hopefully, some type of news finally breaks and we figure out where Kyle Busch is racing next season. But yeah, if he goes to Trackhouse, that'd be quite an interesting duo with him and Ross Chastain, arguably two of the most hated drivers in the Cup Series.
You forgot Daniel Suarez, man.
I said as far as most hated drivers. Daniel Suarez isn't a hated driver.
Oh, I didn't even say hated.
Yeah, Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain as hated drivers would be a crazy duo. Daniel Suarez not on the hated side, but anyways, so we're going to talk about Richmond Raceway now. We already told you that this is pretty much a Toyota dominated track, and you already probably said your favorite paint scheme in that number 23 or number 45 car. Mine is actually going to be the number 21 car Harrison Burton's driving. It's the Menards / Dutch Boy Ford. It's like a blue, yellow, red, and white kind of pixelated car. It actually looks pretty cool. So I'll say that's my favorite paint scheme going into this weekend. And, the Joe Gibbs Racing cars, I'm going to throw those guys off the table because we already know they're going to run good this week. I'm going to look at the 2311 cars. Those are the cars I'm going to keep an eye on this weekend. Even though Ty Gibbs...
all the Toyotas, basically.
I'm not... Okay. I said throw the Joe Gibbs Racing cars out the window. I'm looking at the other two Toyotas. I'm looking at Ty Gibbs and Christopher Bell. Or Ty Gibbs and Bubba Wallace. Wow, I cannot speak.
Christopher Bell is going to 2311 Racing, everyone. Kyle Busch staying now.
Breaking news. No. I'm going to keep my eye on Bubba Wallace and Ty Gibbs. There we go. Finally, I got that. Got that out of the way. But yeah, even though, Ty Gibbs, it's his fourth start, I don't want to say high expectations for him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ran well. So that's why I'm going to keep an eye on him. Along with Bubba Wallace, he's had 4 straight top 10s. He's turned things around ever since that pit crew swap. He ran really good at New Hampshire and really good last week at Michigan. So I'm going to keep an eye on him as well. And I'm also going to keep an eye on Ryan Blaney because he probably knows Martin Truex Jr. is going to run good. So he's got to be thinking in the back of his mind he has to run well too to keep up with him. And Richmond's been a decent track for Ryan Blaney too, so I'm going to keep my eye on him as that playoff bubble shrinks tighter and tighter. So those are the few drivers I'm going to watch this weekend. Matthew, who are some drivers you're going to watch at Richmond this week?
Alright, so besides Joe Gibbs Racing, of course, one driver we're going to keep an eye on is Kevin Harvick, our most recent winner. He just won last weekend, and if you remember last Richmond, he was so close to winning Richmond because he was basically following Denny Hamlin's tire tracks there at the end. So I think Kevin Harvick has a good shot this weekend to go back-to-back. So I'm going to keep my eye on Kevin Harvick. Keep my eye on Ross Chastain. I mean, he's run good pretty much everywhere he goes. Same for Chase Elliott. I'm going to keep my eye on William Byron as well. I mean, he was leading at the end until Denny Hamlin pretty much passed him with like 4 laps to go because of different strategies. So I'll keep my eye on William Byron as well. Let's see. I think that's it.
Yeah, we don't have to go through the whole field of drivers to watch, just a few. So I think that's a pretty good selection for both of us besides the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas. It'll be interesting if they can finally put a race together because they've fallen apart the past few weeks. So it'll be interesting if they come to arguably their best track and put a whole race together. That's what they did earlier this year. That was their first win of the season coming to Richmond. So I wonder if they'll do the same thing this race. But Matthew, do you have any other closing thoughts before we go ahead and wrap this episode up?
I'm just so ready for Kyle Busch to sign something. I don't care where he goes at this point. But yeah. It'll be an interesting weekend in Richmond.
Yeah, I'm gonna be at the race in Richmond in the hot, sunny day, unfortunately.
Have
so
fun.
Hopefully I'll make it back alive. But that's going to go ahead
You
and
might
wrap
as
it up
well
for this
bring
video.
you might as well bring like a little kiddie pool with you. Sit on the back stretch so you can cool off in that heat.
I might have to consider it because, I mean, it's not going to be too hot, but the sun is just going to be baking people in those grandstands. So, oh well, it is what it is. Just going to have to suck it up. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video. We hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure you guys stay tuned to our social media channels and all that stuff for updates. But until next time, we'll see you guys in our next video.